What if I told you there are places on Earth where finding a husband is like winning the lottery? In some countries, women outnumber men so dramatically that it changes everything. Dating, marriage, even national stability. We're about to tour these demographic hotspots, where being a man makes you a rare commodity. This isn't just trivia, it's about real lives, real challenges, and the search for connection. So buckle up. From the Baltics to Southern Europe and beyond, we'll uncover the stories behind the numbers. Let's dive into the 10 countries where the gender gap is a chasm. First stop, Latvia, where for every 100 women, there are only about 85 men. This gap is rooted in history and persists today, thanks to high male mortality and mass emigration. Latvian men live about a decade less than women, often due to lifestyle choices and reluctance to seek medical help. Many young men leave for better jobs abroad, leaving entire villages with few men. For women, this means fierce competition in the dating scene and immense pressure to settle down. Highly educated and ambitious, Latvian women often find themselves compromising or remaining single. The result? Women are fiercely independent, not always by choice. They keep the economy and families running, but the imbalance shapes their personal lives. The power dynamic in relationships shifts, and traditional family life is being redefined. Latvia is a living social experiment, where numbers dictate the rules of love and partnership. For many women, the odds are stacked, and changing them is no easy feat. The search for connection here is as much about resilience as romance. Next up, Estonia, a tech-savvy nation with an old-school problem: too few men. The gender gap mirrors Latvia's, especially among older generations. High male mortality and decades of emigration have left women outnumbering men, particularly in rural areas. Marriage rates are among Europe's lowest, and single motherhood is common. In Estonia, raising a family alone is often the norm, not the exception. Young men leave for better jobs abroad, shrinking the dating pool even further. Women here are highly educated and self-sufficient, but forming traditional families is a statistical challenge. The countryside feels especially empty of eligible men. Estonia is a paradox: digital progress, but a demographic throwback. Women adapt, but the imbalance quietly shapes every aspect of life. In this modern nation, the search for partnership is a test of resilience. In Ukraine, the gender gap has become a chasm, especially since the war. Even before conflict, high male mortality and emigration left women outnumbering men. Now, war has taken a devastating toll. Many women are widowed young or separated from partners at the front. Millions have fled as refugees, often without their husbands, facing new struggles abroad. Ukrainian women are keeping the country running, working, volunteering, raising families, and supporting the war effort. They are the backbone of society, but the shortage of men is profound. When the war ends, Ukraine will face the challenge of rebuilding with a generation of women leading the way. The demographic reality is stark, a nation of women holding it all together. Their resilience is nothing short of heroic. Belarus, often overlooked, faces a familiar story. For every 100 women, only 87 men. Economic stagnation drives young men to seek work abroad, leaving women behind. High male mortality, over a decade less life expectancy, worsens the gap. Many women become single mothers or widows, especially in older generations. Marriage rates decline, and women often become primary breadwinners. Political turmoil accelerates the exodus, making the search for a partner even harder. For Belarusian women, building a traditional family is a constant struggle. Russia's gender imbalance is massive, 10 million more women than men. The roots go back to World War II, but today, high male mortality is the main culprit. Alcoholism, accidents, and poor healthcare mean many women are widowed or single. For younger women, the dating market is fiercely competitive, often forcing tough choices. Men hold more power in relationships, and women may settle for less than they deserve. Highly educated women struggle to find equals, Russia's crisis is a stark reminder. A nation's health is about more than economics. It's about survival. Here, women adapt, but the imbalance shapes every relationship. Portugal, a Western European surprise, has around 90 men for every 100 women. The cause? Generations of men leaving for better jobs abroad. Rural regions are especially affected. Villages are filled with women and the elderly. Women face a tough choice: stay and risk lifelong singleness, or emigrate themselves. This desertification hollows out communities, making family life harder to sustain. Fewer young people means fewer families, schools, and services. For Portuguese women, finding a partner is tied to the survival of their hometowns. The gender gap here is about more than romance. It's about the future of entire regions. Lithuania completes the Baltic trio, with only 87 men for every 100 women. War, Soviet occupation, and mass emigration have left a lasting demographic scar. Men die more than a decade earlier than women, often due to alcohol, smoking, and suicide. Emigration, especially among young men, has shrunk the population and skewed the gender ratio. Lithuanian women, among Europe's most educated, face intense competition for partners. Many must choose between settling, seeking partners abroad, or emigrating themselves. The pressure is immense, shaping personal lives and the nation's future. In Lithuania, the gender gap is a daily reality for women. In Italy, the gender gap is most pronounced among the elderly. Only 75 men for every 100 women over 65. Italian women live years longer than men, thanks to genetics, lifestyle, and social factors. Widowhood is common, but strong family ties and community support help women thrive. Older women become matriarchs, central to family and tradition. Social networks of women fill the gap left by absent partners. Italian society adapts, turning a demographic challenge into a source of resilience. Here, the surplus of women isn't a crisis. It's a foundation for powerful female communities. In Italy, women outliving men has shaped a unique, supportive culture. Now let's flip the script. China faces a massive surplus of men. Decades of the one-child policy and a preference for sons have left 30-40 million more men than women. The result? Fierce competition for wives, skyrocketing property prices, and immense pressure on young men. Some turn to bride trafficking from poorer countries, fueling darker social issues. The government has ended the one-child policy, but the damage is done. Millions of bare branches will never marry, raising concerns about social stability. China's gender crisis is a cautionary tale of policy, culture, and unintended consequences. Here, it's the men who are desperate for partners. The imbalance will shape Chinese society for decades. India, the world's most populous nation, faces a similar crisis. Over 37 million more men than women. Cultural preference for sons and sex-selective abortions have created a marriage squeeze, especially in the north. Villages are filled with unmarried men, leading to frustration, violence, and trafficking of brides from poorer regions. Women sold into forced marriages often face abuse and isolation. The government is fighting back, but changing deep-rooted norms is slow. For millions of Indian men, finding a partner is nearly impossible. The social cost is immense, and the crisis of missing women is now a crisis for men. India's gender gap is reshaping families, communities, and futures. The consequences will echo for generations. From Portugal to India, the gender balance shapes destinies and societies. In some places, women face a lonely future. In others, it's men who struggle for connection. These imbalances, driven by war, migration, and culture, have deep consequences. At their core, they're about the universal desire for love and family. The resilience of those affected is remarkable. What surprised you most? Share your thoughts below. Until next time, stay curious.